Hey everybody, welcome to Convo with Nikki Friday night. It is Friday. It is a little after 9. I flew in here. Those who knew or were able to follow, I was actually on public access tonight with Tamika Thompson, the executive director of the Faces Behind a Purpose for You. She has a series for the next 4 weeks talking about different ranges of abuse. Tonight we talked about spiritual abuse. Next week we'll be talking about how to love after the abuse. So somebody was like, well, I mean, you get ready to talk on there. You probably not going to do a live. Hey, sis. Nope, I'm here. I'm here. I am here for it, honey. So we are going to have live tonight. I did get some suggestions. The crazy part is the suggestion that I really like kind of just came in as I was coming on. So I had picked the topic, and then this other topic kind of came in. So I may try to do like both and see how it work. But welcome to Convo with Nikki. Convo with Nikki is a place and a platform that was given for transformation to happen through transparency. Yes, I'm sitting in my car outside my house because it's 9 o'clock on a Friday, so y'all know what my house sounds like. Probably loud. And I've been running literally all day. Hey, Mo Wilson. So yeah, like I said, if you have a moment, please tune in. We talked about spiritual abuse tonight. It was pretty dope. We had some great pastors on there tonight, and they shared their experiences and their thought processes. Rob, I'm not gonna tell you where I live. That's weird. But again, we had a great time tonight. So tonight's Convo with Nikki. So we meet for I said we meet like it's a meeting, but Monday and Wednesday I do Convo with Nikki at 10 o'clock, and on Friday nights I do it at 9 o'clock. Monday and Wednesdays is usually a moment where I have a thought process or a topic or something, and that's what I focus on. On Fridays, my viewers have an opportunity to kind of give a topic or, throw out some ideas they would like for me to talk about, or my opinion or my view. All of this kind of comes from my heart and my head. Is nothing that's old scripted that I took notes about. Like I said, one of the topics that I'm actually going to talk about tonight just came in as I was on live. Hey, Pastor Wills. And so, yeah, so hopefully this helps. The hope for is that I share my life. I share things that I've endured, not because I'm oh so perfect, but because I know that there's a God that's gotten me through a whole lot, and that even in the midst of those things, I stand. Sometimes I ain't saying I don't get a little shaky, my legs don't get a little weak, but I ultimately am who I am because of the things that I've endured. With a hope for that I can help somebody else stick to and stay to the thing, stay to the path. If you have a vision, if you have a thought process, you stick to it and you don't move, no matter what it looks like around you. So tonight's viewer's choice, I got one from, the two people said that they didn't want me to say their names. Hey, Reggie. So one of the thought processes was being perfect versus perfection. Hey, sis. And what my thought process was about that. And then the other topic was how do you remain strong in a relationship where the other is just as strong? How are you to be strong in a relationship with someone who is just as strong? They both kind of like different ends of the spectrum, so just bear with me as I don't know if I'm gonna make them collide, but I'm definitely going to kind of like try to touch on both because I like both topics. So perfect versus perfection. And this is an opportunity for you to chime in. If you have a thought process, what do you think when you hear both of those words? What are your immediate thought processes? I ask that you share because I understand that I'm not the end all be all. I just have a process and I'm willing to share it. I have a thought process that I share. So if you have a thought process about it or a concern, then you share. Immediately when I thought about it, I was like, they're the same thing. And then, that's me reading initially. And then as I sat back and I was like, wow, perfect. And then perfection. To me, perfect is where you are. Perfection is where you strive to be. But is there anything that's perfect? Will you ever have perfect hair? Will you ever have perfect skin? Will you ever have the perfect shape? I think it's something that just does not exist. Immediately, like perfect to me means unobtainable. We do strive for perfection and try to work into a perfect place and try to exist and be a perfect being. But it's ultimately to continue to strive for the perfection of a thing. And a lot of times we want this perfect situation, this perfect partner, these perfect things, these perfect kids. And when they do not become the things that they will never be able to obtain, we see them as little. We see them as inadequate. We see them as not enough. Even with our hair. I mean, even with, y'all know me in some hair, honey. I love a good hair moment. In my mind, I'm not really having one of those. But somewhere in it, I had to make it be what it was because that's what I got. And it was perfect for me in this moment. Does it make sense? Like, I don't think that there's a strategic way of getting to a perfect anything. So you strive for perfection in your marriage. You strive for perfection in school, right? I mean, if you get 100, that's a perfect score. But if you never get that again, does that mean that you're not striving to be perfect in that way? Do we miss opportunity for perfection because we're so focused on being perfect? Perfection is continued work. I'm going to continue to work on a thing to get to a place that I need to be, to get to a place that I'm called to be, to get to a place that I want to be. So I'm going to strive for that thing. I do the work. The perfection is what requires the work. Hey, Tamika, the perfection is what requires the work to get to a place where I want to see things in a perfect light. I think perfect is ultimately like a glare of. Because they're never, you look at your kid when they're born, because we moms, and we look at that baby and hold him in our hand, and we say, this baby is perfect for you. Because in the eyes of somebody else, they may, the ears, one ear is smaller than the other one leg a little longer than the other one of the toes is crooked, and the nails is moved the other way. I think to be perfect is a lens, kind of like blurred vision for you and what you want to see. Then that becomes your perfect. Perfection is how you get to the thing that you want to see in that lens. Okay, if anybody who has no idea what Convo with Nikki is, it's a process of me on here talking a lot of times to myself and coming through with the process of an end result. And so, because a lot of the times the topics are not my own, it's usually a process. So I hope this is helping somebody, or even a thought process of you to want to be this perfect thing. I don't think there's anything wrong with striving for perfection. However, if you don't get there, does that mean that you failed? Does that mean that you're not enough? Does that mean that you won't be accepted in because you're not the perfect thing in the eyes of somebody else? So I think perfect is how you see yourself. What do you see? What do you see when you look in the mirror? If we're going to talk about ourselves, because our first focus should always be me. I'm a great mom. Me thinking about me first does not make me a bad mom, FYI. But if I look in the mirror and I want to consider me as perfect, what would I look for first? Would I really look in the mirror? Does it define me being perfect? Or would my perfect be how my character is, how I handle and treat other people? Would I make my family proud in that moment? Do I make the people around me, am I able to empathize with people? Like, I guess I'm learning in this season that my perfect has nothing to do with my outside. My perfect is my heart. The thing that I leave vulnerable even when I don't want to. Even in fear, I leave it vulnerable so that I can ultimately attract a thing that is also imperfectly perfect. For me. Because perfect is pretty much based on what you see, what you perceive, or the perception of somebody around or close to you. Perfection is how you're going to get to the place that you wish you could be at. This hope for of where your end result is the work that you do through getting to a place of self-discovery. Because the first thing I'm going to want to work on being perfect is me. Is there such thing as a perfect love, a perfect heart, a perfect relationship? Or are there characteristics, again, that represent and resemble things that you want to embark on? Hey, Mom. Hey, Brandy. So the conversation tonight at this moment is perfect versus perfection. Don't ever let anyone's negative opinion of you become your reality. So it sounds easy, right? That sounds so easy. Hey, Ruth Holmes, that sounds so easy for it to be that I don't take on the response. I don't take on what you see in me. But our actuality is, not only do we take it on, we own it, exist in it, and become what they say we are. And then when we decide that we're going to change, or we're going to look in the mirror for ourselves and become the perfect thing, our own perfect thought process, we miss. Or we're never enough. Because we've always been the inadequate thing that they say we were. But if I learn how to strive for perfection of me, if I learn for me to do the work to get me to a perfect place, then it now becomes the I am more than you say. See, now because I found myself to be a work of perfection, not perfect, but a work of perfection, meaning I'm doing the work to rebuild, to get myself to a place. If I'm now going to do the work, then not only can I hold you accountable, but I also hold me accountable. Better yet, not only do I hold me accountable, but you don't have no choice. And if you don't, then you don't have to be a part. We've allowed people in to diminish and demean who we say we are because we've now given that word more validity than our own. Hey, Chris. Hey, Twerk. We're talking about perfection versus perfect. And if you have a thought process, if you have a moment, then put that on there. Like share when you hear those words. What are your first things? This is one of the topics. This was a viewer topic choice. Hey, Sade. Hey, Jasmine. Our viewer's topic choice today was perfect versus perfection. I think I'm going to say the other one because I think I can stay here for a minute. Only because I know, and I'm going to speak for women because that's what I know. But Chris or, any other men that are on here, it's so easy for you to find my flaws. How easy is it for you to find my strengths? It's so easy for you to pick out the things that don't make me be. When have you ever addressed the things that make me be? And we tend to, we always are open. I know for me, I'm definitely at a season where I'm open for constructive criticism. So come in, help me know about me. Tell me, what's your opinion? I'm listening. One of my last videos was, even in that, I'm going to eat the meat of it and I'm going to spit out the bones. Because even in me hearing you, I don't have to be that. I can hear you. I can respect your opinion of me. And then if it's some underlying stuff that I need to work on and I take that and I own it, then I own it. But just because it's your opinion, it doesn't make it be who I am. And does that mean that I stop striving for perfection in my season because you said I'm not what you say I am? It's not necessarily a relationship, Sade. We're just talking about in general. The word was perfect versus perfection, period. It wasn't like connected to a thing. But in all things, it's got to be connected because what I've come up with in this process is that perfect is what you see, what you perceive. And the example I gave is a lot of us are parents on here. And when you first saw your baby for the first time, your first thought process was, for most of us was, oh, look at him. He is perfect. Oh, look at her. She's perfect. That's in your eyes. But when we truly get to the nitty gritty of a thing and your baby eyes a little cocked to the left, your little baby fingers ain't right. All the things that the world would say are imperfect. All of the things that, people who come and visit your baby and talk about the baby's outfit the whole time see to be imperfect. But you saw the same thing and literally saw perfection. Not just because it was a seed of you, but because that's what you felt. That was your thing. That's what you owned. That was the lens that you saw it in. So perfect is the lens in which you see whatever it is that you're looking at. I may not think your relationship perfect. In your mind, you live there, you exist there. And when you look at that person, that's what you see is perfect for you. Shoot, even in relationship, the person that you may think is your husband or your wife, and your best friend watching and saying that's not it for you. They not enough for you. They not. And in your mind, you look and say, this is the perfect part. This is where I'm supposed to be. They fit me. That's perfect. It's in the eye of the beholder. And then you own it and you live and you exist there. And your outcomes are your own. Because it's how you see it, how you perceive it to be. So perfection is what you do, the work done to get to a perfect expected end. I strive for perfection in whatever your heart beats to do, most of us. If you're a basketball player, a lot of them, they stay on the court. They're going to do the work because their goal is to be perfect and have a perfect shot. Even in perfection, there's mess up and flaws. If we talk about Steph, I'm going to talk about basketball only because I know a little bit. But Steph Curry is known for having the perfect three. Does that mean that he'll never miss? But usually when he shoots it, it's water because it's a perfect shot for him. But when he misses, what ends up happening is the thing that you're supposed to be perfect. And when you mess up there, you're held to a standard of failure. Because in this one moment, you didn't make the shot that they say you should have made. Because now their lens is blurred because you did not meet the expectation of perfection. Do you really want to exist imperfect? I'm just asking questions because that's just who I am. I mean, you can answer them. Do you want to exist where perfect lies? I don't necessarily know if I want to be perfect. Do I want to strive for greatness and great work ethic and doing some work? Absolutely. Do I want to strive to meet my visions and make them happen? Yes. Do I want them to be decent and in order and be at a place of, in line, but perfect? I don't know. And I'm only saying I don't know because what comes with it. Because when it starts to not look like what you said it was going to look like, the standard shifts and it's different. And then they also think that you could never get to the place that you once were. So now I'll never be able to make that shot again. Right? I'll never be able to get to that place again. Had I just strived to be great. I used to use this slang, and I think I still use it. I'm perfectly imperfect. Because I understand that I will fail. I'm going to mess up. I'm not going to I'm not the end all be all. I don't have all the answers, and I probably will never. I only have my experience in my life, and I share it openly. Not because I'm not worried about the judgment. Exactly. That's pretty much, yep. I don't believe in perfect. Yeah, I do believe I believe in perfection as it relates to doing work. Absolutely. And that's kind of like what I was saying. Like, I don't want to get to a place where perfect lies. Because once you say perfect, the expectation is that it's going to be perfect. And when you don't meet it, you somewhat damn to hell. I think I just cursed twice. Whatever. You somewhat damn to hell. And in the minds of the people who are watching this perfect thing, there's no room to come back. You can't redo it. You can't come back from that. What you mean? I did it before, I could do it again. But now because it's not hundreds across the board, and you happen to get a 98 or 26 or 15 this time, that you may didn't study as hard, or it may have been a little harder than your thought process. Does it mean that you're no longer good? Because that's what they said? Because you have now defined yourself by numbers and what people say about you? Versus understanding that when I look in the mirror, there's a perfection there that lies there. Even in my frailties. Even in my unsureties. Even in my things that I don't know. I'm working to get to a place where I'm better than I was yesterday. Then that's where perfection should lie. In the work. In the work that you're going to choose to do to get to a greater place. The catch is we want perfect results and no work ethic for the perfection of it. So a perfection of my skill and my craft. Like Sade is, like I said, I talk about her all the time. She's a braider, but she is also a bartender. And can you imagine if she made one drink and then didn't make no more? And then wanted to sell you from that one drink and expected you to pay for it? She ain't never did it before. Why would I invest where there's no work done? Why would I invest where there's no habits forming? Why would I invest where there's no care? Because in order to strive for perfection, you have to give a care about whatever the thing is that you're trying to perfect. Perfection versus perfect. Are you willing to do the work to strive for perfection in your craft? Not just in your craft, but in your relationship. Not in your relationship, but even in parenting. Not just in parenting, but in ministry. Not just in ministry, but at the person that when I look in the mirror, they are enough. They're a steady work in progress to a greater expectation and a greater end. The end is only given and written by the person that's in the mirror. So don't ever get yourself to a place that when you look in the mirror, the expected end is based on and predicated upon the person who was beside you before. Your expected end should never be the sister that's across the street that has no idea of what you're enduring. Your expected end should not be predicated actually upon the pastor that you sit under, because if God gave vision to you, they may not have given it to your pastor. Do you have an understanding of how to get there if it's handed to you? Strive for the perfection that lies in you. And understand that there is no perfect. There's just a work ethic and a strive for to get to a place that makes you better than you were yesterday. That makes you more skilled than you were the day before. That makes you more invested in the things that are around you. That you're taking the time out to know that I'm enough. I'm required work. And I'm going to do the work for me. Not to please you, but because I understand that for me, I need more. Perfect versus perfection. Understand that the perfect is in the eyes of the beholder. And the perfection is the work of the one that needs to be beheld. Is that a word? I might have just made it up. But perfect is a lot of times unobtainable. Because it does not exist. Because even in perfect, there's an imperfect. That's crazy. Even in perfect, there's an imperfect. You ever been to an art gallery? And you look at the wall and there's some paint there. And you done created your own interpretation. And I'm like, oh, look at that. Look at that. That's nice. Oh, look at that. And then you looking at it with two other people. One person say, girl, what is that mess? And the artist is beside you and they say, this is perfectly the way I wanted it to be. It'll never be perfect. All three people not going to look at one thing and say it's perfect. Because somebody's going to notice something that you didn't notice before. Okay, hold on, let me read. Now, when test of things that have a cap or rating, one can obtain a perfect score. A person or a restaurant can earn 5 stars. Then we have to say, on the receiving end, do I accept that because now I'm accepting an opinion of someone else's views, as well as rating based on the person who created the IE test chart. Prime example, like I think that's what we were just talking about. Like even in the scores, so am I now not perfect because I had a meal that was messed up? I got a new chef in the restaurant. I'd had 5 stars all this time, and this one time, this one chef show up, mess up the whole thing. This is the day the rating people come in. The food wasn't as good as it was the last time. Am I able to not come back? No, because in all things perfect, there's going to be a moment of flaw and frailty. There's going to be a moment where it's not going to be what it used to be. There's going to be a moment in that. Even when we look at those perfect kids when they was 3 months old and 4 months old and they were super perfect, and you could look at them in their hand and you saw them as perfect. They grow up to be 16 with different thought processes and they don't make the decisions that you want them to make. Do they now? Is that perfect kid that you saw, will they never get back to a place? Nope, they can. However, had you not held them to a perfect standard, they probably would have been more than what they were because they can't meet where you put them. I met a mom today and she brought her son into my job to be seen. and she was breaking down crying. She was broken into pieces, honey, talking and crying. And her position was, she gave her kid the best love. There was a 2-parent home. We loved him. We had money. He went to school and was a mechanical engineer. He was making over $100,000 a year. And then this girl connected to him, and now he's using drugs, and that's his thing. And she was broken because after all of the work she did, the manifestation was that he still lost. And she said he was perfect before he met this girl. And I think it's kind of weird because I'm talking about this today, but the reality is, was he perfect or broken? And if you saw him as perfect, and even in this moment, is he no longer able to become the perfect kid that you saw before? Or is he a broken kid that is going to strive for perfection and get to a place in his frailties to be great? I think it's word choice. So I do say to you, I say strive for perfection in the things that you do, in the things of your heart. I mean, in all things, if your goal is to have an A in that class, do the work. Do the work because that's what you want. Don't do the work because somebody say you need to get an A in that class. But do the work because that's what you want. Because people that strive for perfection strive for the things that they want out of life. Not the things that other people say they should have. And then when that becomes the issue, then they stop doing the work. Because I'm no longer doing it to appease me or for me. I'm doing it because that's what you said I'm supposed to do. The same thing with when you look in the mirror and you see yourself and your eyebrow might be arched the wrong way, or your nose may be a little bigger than the other one. I said the other one like you got 2 noses, but you might have a big nose on your face, or your ears may be a little smaller than one, or something that others have seen to be imperfect. Own your imperfection and know that it's a part of you getting to a perfect place. Because the end result is your own. The end result is what you see. And then when you should look in the mirror and be able to look straight on and say, I strive for perfection. I'm going to do the work to be a greater me. I hope this helped. Perfect versus perfection. That was tonight. Thank you, Sonata Koga, for tonight's topic. The other topic, we will talk. Maybe I'll do a surprise live or something this weekend. I don't know. But I hope this helped. I hope that if you've been looking for the perfect thing and you wondering why you can't find it, it's because it's no such thing as perfect. Only a way to strive for perfection. Somebody willing to do some work with you, stand in the gap with you. They may not be perfect, but they fit you. One nostril larger. Oh, Chris Moore. I hope that helped. It helped me a little bit. As you know, I ain't gonna even talk about dating because that ain't even as I look at me and where I'm trying to grow to and where I'm trying to push myself past and push myself beyond. I ultimately have to have an understanding that even in my push, even in my press, if I mess up, even if I fail, that there's still some perfection that I can still strive for perfection after that. So if there's a goal that you have, there's something that you're thinking about. If you're dating, if you're looking at a partner and you see them as great and you see them as really what you want and you know that's what you need and those are the things, but they got these 3 things that they just can't get right. Be willing to work with them. Because remember, one day you looked in the mirror and everything wasn't perfect. Yet someone found you to be enough. And the first person that should find you to be enough is you. Love you. Strive for the ultimate greatest you that it can be. Whatever that work looks like. Good night.